So now it sounds like the Cleveland Browns are going to all but imprison Shedeur Sanders in the football sense of a very talented rookie quarterback who obviously needs reps.
There was one kind of knucklehead play call where it was 4th and 1 and we went empty. And I'm like, you got a rookie quarterback.
Kevin.
You got a rookie quarterback who hasn't been getting reps, and you're going to put him in empty in 4th and 1 where he's like, if there's ever a time where you got to be able to pre-snap, recognize pressure, slide protection, that know your hot checks, that's when you need to know it.
Right.
You know, and you're
The NFL just pulled a stunt wilder than a magic trick gone wrong, and it's not rabbits disappearing this time. It's the fans. Seats went empty faster than free sneakers at a block party, and all it took was Shedeur Sanders getting benched. Those packed arenas flipped overnight into awkward middle school dance vibes, empty chairs, weird silence, and a whole lot of regret hanging in the air. Viewership crashed so ugly you'd think folks were forced to binge old tax shows on repeat. The league is blazing up in chaos, and the flames ain't pretty.
Named the starter. Joe Flacco got off his couch and won Comeback Player of the Year in 2023 for the same coach. He knows what Joe Flacco can do. Joe Flacco has been doing this a long time. You can argue his run to a Super Bowl is the greatest run we've seen by a quarterback because of who he had to go through.
I don't know about
The
that.
preseason, no, I'm saying you can argue this. The preseason, Keith can attest to this. We've been in training camp killing our bodies. You get in a preseason game, even though you want to play, you're not turning it all the way on.
The NFL swore this season was going to be explosive, but what fans got felt more like sipping flat soda out a paper cup. This game was hyped to be legendary. Shedeur Sanders, the golden rookie quarterback, was supposed to light up prime time and shut the doubters down. Instead, the cameras flipped, and here comes Joe Flacco, jogging out slow like it's still 2012. The whole stadium froze, thinking they'd walked into some retirement home talent show gone wrong.
So you mean to tell me the Cleveland Browns listed Shedeur Sanders as inactive today? Inactive? Yo, look, man. At this point, hey, I'm a fan of Shedeur, I'm a fan of Deion, but we just need to stop caring. Because the more people actually trying to tune in to watch Shedeur, the more they ain't going to play him, and the more they using him for clout and clickbait. They don't want the guy. The owner don't want him. The coach don't want him. The general manager don't want him. They don't want him on the team. Obviously, the NFL do not want Shiloh or Shedeur in the league, but Shedeur is good for money and ratings, or he wouldn't even be there.
The whole stadium mood flipped in seconds, like somebody cut the power. Tailgaters who'd been hyping Shedeur's primetime debut all day were suddenly glued to their phones, doom-scrolling like teenagers, finding out TikTok just got banned overnight. Season ticket holders who dropped mortgage money on those sky-high seats started grilling anybody who even looked halfway connected to the Browns, demanding answers on the spot. All that buzz, the wild hype, the dream that Cleveland had finally unlocked its golden quarterback, gone quicker than steam vanishing off a frozen sidewalk.
I hate that they took him out. To me, that was so stupid. Well, I don't care that Snoop Huntley can come in and go 1 of 1 for 7 yards in a 2-minute drill. He's not going to be on the team tomorrow. Why would you not let Shedeur have the 2-minute drill and see if he can do it? Can he shake off? We just talked about how he had poor body language. He looked defeated. Can he shake it off in the moment? Hey, I've had a bad half, but we still, as bad as I've played, we have a chance to go out and win this football game. Can I go out and orchestrate a 2-minute drive to get us into field goal range to win this football game? And instead, you put in the guy who's not going to be on the team tomorrow.
Let's keep it real. This wasn't some harmless lineup shuffle. This was straight up betrayal. A promise shattered between a franchise and a fan base that's already been dragged through enough heartbreak. It was the Browns basically saying, oh, that thing we hyped nonstop for weeks? Forget it. Here's Joe Flacco instead.
Beat the Browns 17-16. The Browns outgained the Bengals 327-141 and had the ball for nearly 36 minutes, but it wasn't enough. And this is why you need to find your quarterback. I don't know why y'all fooling with Joe Flacco. Y'all know Joe Flacco's not taking y'all anywhere. He's not your quarterback of your future. If I'm going to lose, I'm going to lose trying to find out who my quarterback is. That's just me. I don't care. I don't care if it's Gabriel. I don't care if it's Shedeur. I don't care who it is. I just know Joe Flacco ain't your quarterback.
It don't matter who was at the quarterback. It could have been Patrick Mahomes.
It could have been.
No,
It could have been
the
Lamar
guy
Jackson.
he missed the field. You missed the field goal and you missed the PAT.
Enjoy this chaos. The NFL built up this night like it was the Super Bowl of quarterback debuts. The hype train was burning rocket fuel. Shedeur versus Burrow. Two generational talents lined up like future kings of football, ready to clash. ESPN rolled out flashy graphics, Amazon brought in custom camera angles, and NFL Network acted like professors teaching a whole course on how Shedeur was going to rip Cincinnati's defense apart. They didn't just promote this matchup, they shoved it down our throats like it was the second coming of Brady versus Manning. And then Cleveland benched the one player the entire league tuned in to see. That's like advertising Beyonce headlining Coachella, only to wheel out a middle school choir singing Single Ladies. Once folks saw Joe Flacco trotting out, ratings tanked harder than a Kardashian marriage by halftime. 11 million viewers stuck around, probably hoping it was some sick prank. By the fourth, just 9 million remained, mostly gamblers too deep in to walk away. That's a 40% crash in ratings, and in NFL language, that's nothing short of catastrophic.
Because Njoku and Judy showed you through training camp, they love this kid because he's special. He got raised by the athlete I think was the greatest athlete in the history of sports. It's in his bloodlines. He was raised around stars to be a star in the National Football League. I said, again, a first guess, before last college football season, he should be the first overall pick.
Network execs were in full panic mode mid-game, jumping on emergency calls like NASA engineers trying to keep a rocket from blowing apart. Advertisers were barking for refunds, producers were losing their minds, and somewhere in a boardroom, some old dude in a suit was seriously asking if they could just deepfake Shedeur into the game to save face. And the meltdown didn't stop at TV ratings. It wrecked everything tied to the NFL money machine. Streaming subs, fantasy football, betting lines, all of it came crashing down because the one star everyone tuned in for was stuck on the sidelines, looking like somebody just jacked his car. Fans don't just crave football anymore, they crave superstars lighting it up. By the third quarter, whole sections were ghost towns. Concession stands were flooded, not with folks grabbing nachos, but with angry fans venting at any poor worker rocking a Browns cap. Even the merch booths turned ugly. Shedeur jerseys that had been flying off racks for weeks suddenly came back like boomerangs. One vendor called it Black Friday in reverse. Instead of buying, people were dumping gear back. That's how deep the betrayal cut.
It's always tough with the Browns. I think Shedeur should be quarterback number one. I think he has what it takes, and the other quarterbacks haven't been working there, and just because someone's getting paid more doesn't mean that they should be starting. That's my positioning on it.
This wasn't just fans being dramatic. Shedeur himself got blindsided. Insiders say he only found out he wasn't starting about an hour before kickoff after running through every warm-up, after locking in mentally for what was supposed to be the biggest night of his young career. Picture this. You've got the tux on, vows memorized, heart pounding, then someone tells you you're not the groom, you're sitting in the back pew watching your ex marry somebody else. That's the kind of humiliation Shedeur was hit with. Teammates reportedly saw him furious, helmet slammed, storming toward the locker room, before vets had to calm it down to keep things from blowing up. The defining shot of the night wasn't a touchdown or highlight reel moment, it was Shedeur on the sideline, helmet off, arms crossed, looking like somebody snatched away his destiny. And Flacco as the answer? Stefanski's so-called confidence fooled nobody. That decision didn't just ruin the game, it cracked the whole locker room in half. Receivers who'd built rhythm with Shedeur were forced to slow their routes because the ball wasn't reaching them fast enough. The O-line, already shaky, now had to guard a statue who had zero escape plan. The whole thing was chaos on every level.
All the things, I don't believe, there's no conspiracies, there's no blackballing. That was so stupid. I will never understand that in a million years, why you would take him out in that's you just drafted him. You don't want to see him get those reps and see what he can do, see if he can overcome the bad play, see if he can get out of his head and go out there and lead a drive, have a short memory. Instead, you put him on the bench and let Snoop Huntley go 1 of 1 for 7 yards. What did we learn? What did we learn about anything? We learned nothing. The only thing we learned is that our backup kicker is better than our starting kicker.
Which we already knew.
So that is...
Defensive players were gassed from carrying the team all night, only to watch their grind get wasted by an offense moving slower than dial-up internet. But the real eruption came from the top, the ownership box. Jimmy Haslam, the man who handpicked Shedeur, poured millions into his brand, and built entire campaigns around him, was reportedly fuming as viewership collapsed live on national TV. This wasn't just a football call, it was straight-up financial sabotage. And if there's one thing NFL owners despise more than losing games, it's losing money. Fans who thought the disaster stopped at the stadium seriously underestimated the storm about to hit nationwide. Stefanski's move was the football equivalent of microwaving a frozen pizza for 2 minutes and acting shocked when it's still raw in the middle. By the next morning, every sports show turned into a full-blown roast session. Former quarterbacks labeled it malpractice, while loudmouth media personalities, who usually waste hours screaming about nonsense, were suddenly united on one point. Benching Shedeur wasn't strategy, it was pure sabotage.
Cleveland Browns, man, their fans are showing their frustrations with Kevin Stefanski and Joe Flacco after their Week 1 loss to the Cincinnati Bengals, 17-16. It's a lot of blaming going around and a lot of finger pointing.
The Browns deserve to lose this game. Their coaches can't make any good decisions. First of all, out of all the quarterbacks on their depth chart, they choose Joe Flacco to start the game. Second of all, they also chose this kicker over Dustin Hopkins. Dustin Hopkins would have made every single field goal that this man missed. So Browns fans, don't blame your kicker that you lost. You need to blame Kevin Stefanski because that man cannot make a correct depth chart decision to save his life.
The memes alone could have powered Cleveland's dead offense. Stephen A's reaction face hit the internet on loop like a broken record. Pat McAfee didn't even bother with a full breakdown, just one sarcastic quip, and boom, it went viral. Colin Cowherd, on the other hand, went all in with a dramatic monologue, calling it the most self-destructive coaching move in modern NFL history. When national media, who usually thrive off chaos, unite and say you've gone too far, you know you've set off a bomb under your own squad. And then came the gambling disaster. Sportsbooks had set lines expecting Shedeur to start, and suddenly thousands of callers were lighting up phone lines demanding answers about why their fantasy rosters got torched. Cleveland's bait-and-switch turned prop bets into garbage, blew up parlays, and left fantasy owners staring at zero-point quarterbacks, half-joking they should sue the Browns for emotional damages. Think about that. One coach's call didn't just wreck a football game, it sent shockwaves through the billion-dollar sports betting empire. This wasn't some minor lineup shuffle, it was an economic earthquake shaking the whole league.
People are fed up, dude. People are sick of waiting. Like, we started the show saying don't book your trip to San Francisco for the Super Bowl. That's not what people want to hear. This is a GM and a head coach that inherited a roster with Baker Mayfield on his rookie deal, Odell Beckham Jr., Jarvis Landry, Nick Chubb, Myles Garrett. You beat Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh. People are fed up. Like, you mentioned 6 games, Daryl. Look at the first 6. Like they got to find a way to win some ball games because people have had it with this regime. And I don't blame them. It's time to start winning some games, and it's time to get serious.
The wildest twist of all, the NFL itself was neck-deep in the hype machine. The league had been selling Shedeur as one of its future faces, pumping out promo campaigns like he was the chosen one. Broadcast partners dropped stacks on exclusive camera angles, highlight reels, and glossy pre-game packages, all built around him. And then, when the lights came on, the star never even touched the field. That's like spending millions on a blockbuster movie, plastering the lead actor across every trailer, only for the release to swap him with a stunt double fumbling the lines. The fractures were instant and brutal, spilling all over social media. Younger players were liking posts demanding Shedeur start. Others were resharing memes clowning Stefanski's call, and even the vets who tried to keep it clean couldn't hide their frustration completely. The cracks weren't subtle. The locker room wasn't just split. It was collapsing in plain sight. Ownership was beyond furious. Jimmy Haslam, the same man who personally pushed for Shedeur's draft pick, was forced to watch his entire investment crumble live in front of the world.
Pitted them against each other when they took one guy in the 3rd round and the other in the 5th. And then brought a quarterback kerfuffle to camp and gave 3 guys a chance and 1 guy not a chance. So when the one guy that gave no serious chance to win this job went out there and outplayed everybody but the guy who started the job, it should be on record. That is the whole point. This exercise was, how do you roll these guys out? What chance do you give? 3 guys were given a chance. And before Dylan's hamstring injury, which gave Shedeur the opportunity, and not anything else, that gave him the opportunity to Wally Pip him, which hasn't happened. Before that, they were very seriously doing everything they could to prop Dylan up to see if he could challenge.
I mean, how
The NFL had banked on Shedeur's arrival boosting ticket sales, merch revenue, and ratings across the board. That was the entire business model, and Stefanski's call blew it all up in one night. Marketing dollars wasted, sponsorships jeopardized, season ticket renewals dropping like flies. One insider even claimed Haslam was pacing like a man watching his stock portfolio tank in real time, and honestly, that's exactly what it was. It's one thing to lose a game, but it's another to torch your own franchise's golden goose. Owners don't fire coaches just for L's. They fire them when they bleed cash. And with every empty stadium seat, every Amazon Prime cancellation, Stefanski's chair was heating up faster than a skillet forgotten in the oven. Nothing enrages NFL billionaires more than realizing another billionaire's employee just shrunk the pie. Meanwhile, Shedeur stayed radio silent. No posts, no interviews, just silence that screamed louder than words. His camp made sure leaks painted him as blindsided, humiliated, and even weighing an exit if things didn't flip quick. And then came the kicker. His father, Deion Sanders, dropped cryptic posts about knowing your worth and never staying where you're not wanted. Subtle? Maybe? Effective? Absolutely. It shook the whole league.
I think the problem is that you forget this is a team sport sometimes, you know, because there's such a spotlight on you because of certain points in the game and what happened. And what you got to remember is that we've all been in a situation where we've all made mistakes before that have been a big part of costing us a football game. You got to shake it. It's not just on you. It's a team sport. We're all going to be in there and rally together. Nobody wants to be in that situation.
What started as a simple benching exploded into something way bigger. Other teams across the league began circling like sharks, wondering if Cleveland's dysfunction could be their golden chance to snatch Shedeur. Agents were suddenly floating ideas about contract clauses to protect young QBs from insecure coaches tanking their careers. Even the NFLPA sniffed around, questioning whether benching Shedeur broke some unspoken competitive integrity rule. By midweek, the numbers told the real story. Merch sales cratered, season ticket renewal lines were jammed with cancellations, and sponsors were sweating bullets about having their logos tied to a franchise that couldn't even keep its future star on the field. Cleveland wasn't just losing games, they were bleeding money all over the place. Shedeur wasn't just a quarterback, he was a marketing machine, a ratings magnet, an engagement engine. Benching him was like cutting the power at the plant, then acting shocked when the whole city went dark. Stefanski thought he was flexing authority, proving he could make the tough calls. But all he did was expose how shaky his power really is. In today's NFL, coaches who ignore the entertainment side of the game are dinosaurs, and the meteor just slammed into Cleveland. Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button if you're rocking with us, and don't forget to subscribe for more wild stories straight out the league.